the last question I'd want to ask you is regarding the Pulsechain launch. There was the update, obviously, that Richard tweeted about. Do you have a time frame?
Well, I told you that we were uploading, right? And
Yes.
I said it was going to be a matter of days. What I didn't know is, yes, it was uploading. It was a matter of days, but it's private, not public. So I'm going to say, no, I wasn't wrong because it was a matter of days because it was in the process of
That's fair.
uploading. There is a V3 and it is running currently flawlessly, right? Uh, and it was delayed a little bit as a result of the bug that was found. And it's private test net and not public network. So V3 is up and running, just we don't have access to it. So it's a matter of whether or not they want to just say, you know what, Aragon's a pain in the ass. It's dead space. Dump it. We don't need it. We have already got three others. Let's just go ahead and run this thing, right? If they do that, then we could have testnet V3 public very quickly, very quickly. If they decide that Richard says, no, I'm not going to settle for three. I want all four. I want my damn quad four processor. I want bragging rights. I want to say, no, nobody's ever done this before. I've done it. Look at what I've done. Look at how awesome it is. I've got four of these things working together. It was very hard. You guys try it. Good luck. Then we're going to be waiting a while. So it really comes down to the amount of patience that he has on whether or not he sees that there's a value in fighting with the Aragon compatibility or not. So it could be very quick, or we could be stuck in a holding pattern for a while, guys, if he's determined that he wants to make sure that Aragon. So my question is, what does the adding Aragon really add to it? Is it necessary? Because most of the shit in the crypto space is so broken, you would not believe it. Nobody talks about how broken everything is. Nobody talks about Solana going down every other week, right? Nobody talks about that. They don't talk about that stuff. They don't talk about how you could literally like crash ETH-FAIR and ETH-W if you spam up transactions, right? They don't talk about that, okay? Because they don't want to admit that it's broken. Nobody usually knows there's a problem until there is one, right? So, if your computer's running completely fine, it starts slowing down, you notice when it's really slow, right? You don't know what happened to cause that or trigger that, but you know now that there's a problem because your computer's slow. But that problem could have been developing for a long time, right? Mm-hmm. And that's a lot of the blockchains. They've got flaws. We learned this when you couldn't even pull proper data from them when they were trying to do the sacrifice balances. Okay, it was almost ridiculous just getting it to run, functions to pull data. So, where am I going with this? I don't even know. I'm lost now. Train derailed. This week, man.
No, you're saying the difficulty of getting it was that the bug was in the Aragon client.
Yeah.
So you're saying that could be a lot more than a few days. So you were right.
Do we need it? But do we need it? That's the question. Do we need it? Is anybody going to notice if it's not there? In fact, Richard could probably say, oh, we got Aragon going and we'll just launch without it. And nobody would probably even know that it's not there until they try to build on it and realize Aragon's not there. So if you're not a builder, you wouldn't even know that it's there. Okay. So it's very possible. I mean, you got to weigh these things out. But the thing is, Richard wants to do things. They gave him a hard time, right? So he made Hex, but Hex is on Ethereum, right? So then they said, well, you didn't make your own chain. You just made an ERC20 token on Ethereum. You didn't really make a layer one network. So he's like, oh, okay. All right. I'll make a layer one network. All right. Now I'm going to add all these extra clients. Okay. I'm going to stack on top of that. So like Ivan said, two clients is great. 3 clients is really ambitious. 4, oh my God. That's a lot of work. Okay. So is he proving a point? Yes. Or does he really want to get something to market? I mean, that's the question, because and he's got a problem with that too, because it's a challenge. He doesn't want to back down from a challenge, right? He doesn't want to just go, okay, well, I'm going to scrap that part and just move forward. He doesn't want to do that. He wants to solve these problems. That inquisitive part of his mind says, okay, this has to work. I have to find a way to make this work. And that's where that can tie things up, is because you can be very determined to make things work, and you can spend a lot of time fighting with that to make it happen. If you don't fight with it, it'll never happen. If Richard doesn't find a way to set up the 4 clients, no one else is going to ever do it anyway. And if he does it, then people are just going to copy him anyway. So, they're just going to copy off his homework if he's able to do it anyway. So, like, I spent like 6 months trying to figure out how to make kidneys X-rayable, ultrasoundable, and endoscopable. I could make any one of the 3, but I couldn't make them all 3 work together. Okay. So what I had to do was I had to find a material that reacted to X-ray a certain way, it reacted to ultrasound a certain way, and then it had to have a hollow cavity in order to do the endoscope. So these were 3 different filters. If you want to think about it like that, it's like 3 different clients. So it has to function the same way as it would on all 3 different clients, if you want to think about it that way. So it took me 6 months to find the right materials, the right combinations, and to make that actually show up on all 3 filters the way that it needed to in order to make it work. And I had a box of scrap, and I went through lots of material and a lot of wasted time, 6 months of it. And it's probably one of the most difficult things I had to figure out how to do. And it was ego that drove me to do it, because I could have said, this is the best you're going to get. It works on these 2, but it doesn't work on this one. But I had that kind of similar situation where it's like, no, I know I'm not making any extra money on this. It doesn't really matter. But I'm going to make the best product that I can. So I'm going to go ahead and solve this problem, because now it's frustrating me. Now it's pissing me off. I'm going to figure out a way to make this happen, because if I don't do it, no one else is going to do it. So I did. So I do. I make the only kidney in the world that is X-rayable, ultrasoundable, and endoscopable. You can buy any one of the 3, but you can't buy one that does all 3 unless it's mine, because I'm the only one that has one.
Wait, so no one copied you yet?
No.
You're not giving away the secret, is what it sounds like. All right, I like that.
If I'm dead, they don't exist anymore.
Wow.
I've told no one.
Okay. That's a great analogy. Could it be fair to say that maybe which approach he takes, meaning just saying screw it, we'll do 3, or we're going to get the 4 done, would maybe depend on like broader markets, like if crypto starts mooning and like.
I think it comes down to what Richard is willing to settle for. Period. I don't think markets.
So you're saying it's irrespective of catching the hype of a bull market. Because like, let's say Bitcoin goes to 100K and he's still working on the 4. You think that's possible? I could actually imagine that.
I think it's a balance between his patience and his ego. Because I know he wants Pulse more than anyone else. And I also know he wants to build the best product that anybody else has built. Because there was absolutely no reason for him to go to this extreme, because he's not going to put something out that's halfway done. He could have. So this is what frustrates me. It's like people will say, well, Pulse will never come out, right? They'll say, oh, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. It could happen tomorrow. He just doesn't want to put garbage out there so that it can break. It could happen tomorrow. It could have happened when V2B came out. He had a functioning blockchain. Did it have bugs? Yeah. Guess what else does? Everything else. He could have just flipped the switch and made it live and said, yep, there you go. You guys have been bitching about it. There it is. It's done. But he won't. Why? Because it's not important enough just to get something to market. What's important is he's able to point at this monument that he's building and saying, I have done what no one else has done. I have linked up all 4 of these clients to a EVM compatible network. It has higher throughput. It has better gas fees. It has faster speeds. I did this. So don't you tell me that I can't build a layer one, because I did. And not only did I build a layer one, but I built the best damn layer one there is. That's what.
But
That's what he wants.
no, that is great stuff. But to be fair, that was like when the prices were like going down, but like everybody knew there was a lot more downside. So possibly like he's like, screw it, we're going 11K, and right now Bitcoin's at whatever was 30,000 FTX. Like, I have time. Time is on my side. That is sort of going away in the sense that we're getting closer to the bull market. So
I
like
think
maybe
there's a
that would
time
change.
restraint where there's a lot of pressure on him to go ahead and push it out.
Mm-hmm.
But knowing his ego, I would say that it's still the reason he has a hard time letting go. Okay. That's his personality. He has a real hard time letting go, and he has a real hard time compromising. So he might very well want to make sure that he gets that last client compatible. If it's easy enough to do, if and he's depending on others, right? So he's depending on others to do their job. And he is depending on their feedback as experts. If they say, all right, I can do this, and he's confident that they believe that they can do it, and it's not going to cost a whole bunch of extra time, he's going to insist. But he's also going to be really pissed if they say they can do a job that they can't, and then it costs him more time. So it comes down.
Is there a troll in there?
Yeah, I'm watching. It should be finishing syncing in the next few days. If it worked, we should get another update from the plan. Yeah, the devs introduced a bug. Yeah, he's correct about that. So what happens when you're trying to splice things together is you can introduce bugs, because you're putting things together that are not normally compatible, and you're trying to make them compatible. And then they're meant to be standalone things, and you're trying to make them work together. So sometimes they try to stand alone, and that's the problem that's going on there. Now, mind you, look, I'm not a programmer, but I understand how systems and things work. You don't actually have to know how to write the code to understand how things work in reality. Okay, same with like my development of the kidney is a good analog expression of why I understand these things. Yes, they're two totally different things. People could say, well, you're not a programmer or whatever, but most of you get it. Yeah. The trolls, whatever.
I got scared for a second. You saw a troll when you stopped speaking. But we blocked them. But let me
when I go off on trolls. It's your entertainment for the day.
Yeah, no, at the end of the day, it's your call. But so what I'm getting is that you think that if it's possible, he's gonna allow as much time required for him to get all four. So regardless of markets and things like that, like it's not.
I think he really wants the four. But it's getting to a point where he's going to have to make a decision on whether 3 is enough.